Let's talk about Friday in the NBA. We've got 7 games on. Let's preview them, look at who's in, who's out. Let's take a gander at some streaming possibilities. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I want to dedicate today's show to a man who just never got any respect, Bud Bundy. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel and get $150 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Also, LockedOnDaily.com. Yeah, newsletters, best team, favorite team, or maybe Toronto. Who knows? Go and sign up at Locked On Daily. Actually, to be fair to Toronto, and you'll never hear me say that, Sean's work over on the Raptors newsletter, top class, he is churning out unbelievable stuff there. I might even, I know, I might even go subscribe to the Raptors newsletter. So you can do that as well. And Sean's popping out some really good stuff over there. All right. What are we talking about? Friday. 7 games on in the NBA. We've got a 7-game Thursday, 7-game Friday. The busy day coming up is Sunday, and then we head into nothing. One game Monday, 2 games Tuesday, 2 games Wednesday, I believe it is. Yeah, it is a very, very lean stretch of games, NBA Cup games on, which is okay. It's okay. I know people get up in arms. It's killed us. It's ruined everything. It's just the end of fantasy. It's okay. We're good. It's just a couple of days off. Our guys who are hurt get a couple of days to rest. If you've managed the schedule correctly in your league, then we're going to be okay. It's just a few days with lower volume. And I don't know what we'll do in terms of shows over those days. We'll still do our recaps of what happens. But a couple of little extra features chucked in there as well. All right, what are we going to talk about here? Well, let's talk about the games. Let's go into the first one on Friday. The first one there is your, my, our, their Orlando Magic. They take on the Philadelphia 76ers. I swear to God, we just had this game about 2 days ago, but that's okay. Schedule-wise, it's Friday, Sunday for our Magic, and then they play Tuesday as part of the NBA Cup, and then they're either on Saturday or Sunday. If they win on Tuesday, they're on Saturday. If they lose on Tuesday, they play on Sunday. The Sixers, no such luck of making the knockout round. They're a Friday, Sunday team, and just the one game next week. Yuck. They play on the Friday next week. But of course, that is great if you've got a Paul George. It's great if you've got a Joel Embiid because you give them a little bit more time to recover and get back to increased health, and you don't actually miss any games played. That's a W in that spot. Who's out? Paolo Banchero's out. Gary Harris is out. Johnny Isaac left the last game with what they called a cramp. Didn't look like a cramp to me, but whatever. He is available to play. Embiid is going to be out on Friday. Adem Bona is out. Well, it's always a tough day when your Bona is out, and that's how the Sixers are having to deal with that. But the big fella, the big avocado, Andre Drummond, is maybe returning. He's still going to be behind Gershon Yabusele, but he's returning, and no, you don't add Andre Drummond. Paulie George sat the last game for rest, so did Kyle Lowry. They're both going to be back in this one. What are we watching on the Magic side? It is John Isaac, because he only played 14 minutes last game. He put up this man will never do this, ever, John Isaac. He'll never play 30 minutes. He would be a top 25 fantasy player without any question. He'd be like a 15-9 guy with 2 threes, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 3 assists. He'd be unbelievable, but he will never do it. So now we've just got to hope we get a baseline 22 minutes. It is not for everybody. There are going to be ups and downs, and there are going to be days where the low minutes are really frustrating. But I do believe he's got a spot on somebody's 12-team roster for categories. Points, just forget that. Don't worry about it. It's not for you. It's not for you. It's for category leagues. For the Sixers, it's Paul George for me. There's 2 things I want to watch with Paul George. Last game we saw him. He was awesome, so that should ease some of your concerns. But then what does the trickle-down effects do? How does the trickle-down Paul Georgeonomics work? Does that mean that we get better efficiency from Maxey? Does that mean we see Jared McCain going away again? Don't know. Because I will stand on this hill. I won't die on it. I'll die for other reasons, which is totally cool. I'm done, right? Over it. But I'm not going to die on the hill of Tyrese Maxey can't be the number 1 guy, but every evidence suggests that he can't at this point. So let's see. How does the usage ramp back down? How does his efficiency rise back up? Now, I'm also not going to tell you that Paul George is going to be a number 1 guy, but at this point, He's definitely got more of a track record of being that player. So I want to see how that interplay works. In terms of stream, guys, it continues to be Goga Bitadze. Again, I think you are seeing some of the limit. I love Goga a lot. Let me again re-put that out there. I love Goga a lot. But we are seeing some of the limitations of Goga Bitadze as a player. There are many people who would love to claim categorically that he's significantly better than Wendell Carter and they just need to start him and play him 28 every single night. And I understand that you've seen that through certain games, but there are also certain games here where it's like, I don't know about this. Like last game wasn't very good. He did suffer a back injury early in the game. He played through it, but we stream him in, we watch it, but also I haven't seen enough from Goga to suggest that he locks down 26 starting irrespective of who plays. I don't think that is true. So we just need to keep watching that and streaming him in, of course, and same with the Dancing Bear. Gershon Yabusele, no Embiid, and a questionable drummer, and of course, we don't have Boner in that one for the 76ers. What about the second game of the day? That is the Lakers, old Master Splinter himself, taking on the Hawks in Atlanta. The Lakers play Friday, Sunday, and then also Friday, Sunday. And the Hawks go Friday, Sunday, and they've got NBA Cup games. They play Wednesday, and then if they win, it's on Saturday, and if they lose, it's on Sunday. Wood is out. Well, we had Boner out in one. We've had Wood out in the next one. Or is Johnson going to be out in the next one? What about Dick? Is he available? Let's keep firing up. No Wood, no Vanderbilt, no Hayes. I'm just going to label Bronny James, that is LeBron James Jr., as doubtful. And I also believe that we actually got an update on the Lakers injury reporting between me creating this graphic and putting it up. So Austin Reeves has been ruled out, and LeBron James' 82-game goal legend is ruled questionable because, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, that was an insane thing to try and do. It's an insane thing for anybody to play 82 games, let alone a 40-year-old man. And you are seeing how much this fatigue is impacting LeBron. He will not play 82 games. He was never going to play 82 games. They can claim whatever they want. It's just not realistic. And this is just like, it's a tale as old as LeBron, which is the tale as old as time, is where people come out and they say these outlandish things and you go, yeah, okay, cool, that's not happening. It's just not going to happen. It's just a physical impossibility for you to do this. And then you're 6 weeks into the season, the coach comes out, JJ Redick, and it's like, yeah, maybe we're not going to play him 82 games because it doesn't make sense. And of course it doesn't make sense. Of course it doesn't make sense. But you know what? We want just players out there. We don't want good quality stuff. We want just players out there. That's all we need. We want to see them. We don't want good stuff. Why would we? Am I annoyed at it? A little bit. Austin Reeves is out again, which is frustrating. That means that we can keep firing up the old D-Lo train, which I know you all love doing. Jalen Hood-Schifino is out, and Anthony Davis I listed probable because he is going to do the probable dance all season. And I wouldn't be shocked if, not that Davis is going to sit this game, but his last few have been terrible. He is dealing with plantar fasciitis, which is a long-term problem. He will sit some games coming up as well. I'm very, very certain of that. I don't know when that'll be, but he will sit games. And this is a really incredibly busy stretch of the schedule for the Lakers. On the Lakers, I probably do hate myself a little bit too much, but I do want to watch Rui Hachimura, and that's not a fun exercise at all. But with Austin Reeves out and with LeBron maybe out, Rui will get an opportunity to do things. And we know what Rui does. We know what Rui is able to do and what scenarios he works in. 35 minutes, above average usage, and get hot shooting. That's what he does. He doesn't do anything else. It's also a good opportunity for old mate Dalton Connect to get more shots and more usage because that is what he needs as well. Now, he's in a real slump at the moment shooting-wise. So we'll see that if that bounces back up. Trae Young has also popped up on the injury report as probable. He is going to have that probable tag for a while. Again, a fake injury very clearly. Independent doctor who went to Upstairs Hollywood Medical Clinic said that Trae was available to play in that game against the Celtics, and he obviously didn't have a real injury, so I'm just going to call that this is a lie. All Trae's struggles and shooting issues and not finishing at the rim is just clearly in his head and not injury related, so that's all good. But Trae is on the injury report again with the Achilles issue. He's going to keep playing through it, and this is actually an interesting spot. And it depends who's got Trae in your league. But this is an interesting buy low position for Trae because people are like, what do I do? People start to panic. Man, should I get off of this Trae Young situation? Like, what? No. What are you talking about? Man's getting like 15 assists a game. And yeah, he's shooting horribly, but is Trae Young that? Is he that bad of a shooter? Like, probably not. This is a buy low for Trae Young. And if you've got Trae Young, you 100% don't get off him at this point in where he is. Like, you're not selling low. That is an insane idea. Don't do it, ever. Stream guys, it is Connect, whose value will rise here. I imagine if LeBron is out, just gives more minutes and touches. And then DeAndre Hunter. Very impressed last game from Hunter with those steal numbers. The shootings for him still is the key swing thing. I don't have faith in the peripherals always being there, but they were there last game, and we'll see how he continues to roll or rock or roll. We've got more games to cover off, and we will do that. But today's episode is brought to you by the big fellas over at Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Well, a silver spoon, that doesn't actually... A silver spoon, I know we talk about silver spoons all the time, and you hear that as a common phrase, but, don't worry about it. Just get regular spoons and get regular things like Robinhood Gold and pretend that it's a silver spoon. Forget the analogy, just get to Robinhood Gold. Because what does Robinhood Gold do? Well, it gives you these perks that often, they're sort of the secret perks that the others get, the silver spoon legends. They're the ones that they get those extra perks, but now you can get it with Robinhood Gold. Unbelievably liberal rate of 4.25% APY on your uninvested cash, and you can get 3% reward back on your retirement boosts on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold gives you those privileges that are usually reserved for the people who, honestly, don't really need them as much. But now you can get them with Robinhood Gold for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. And just go sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. All right, what is the next game that's on deck? It is the Bucks, the Celtics. Cool. I realized when I've created this little schedule part down the bottom, I got the Bucks part slightly wrong. I'll tell you that in a sec, so just be careful. Milwaukee's got Friday, Sunday this week, and then next week they play on Tuesday, and I said they're either Saturday or Sunday. That is not 100% true. No, you know what? It is true, but they also may not play on either Saturday or Sunday. If they win on Tuesday, they play on Saturday. If they lose on Tuesday, the Bucks, they could play Sunday or they could play Monday the following week. So that is up for debate. So if the Knicks and the Bucks both lose their quarterfinal, then they will play on the Monday, the beginning of game week, calendar week 9. If the Knicks win and the Bucks lose, the Bucks play Sunday, and if the Bucks win, they play on Saturday. Got it? Yeah, sure. The Celtics, Friday, Saturday. This is the end of their 5-game-in-7 run, and then they go Thursday, Sunday, the week after. Marjon Beauchamp, I've got as questionable, and we are doing it. It is happening. We are available to talk about old mate, Chris Middleton, because he is set to return. Taurean Prince is also on the list as probable, as is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And, guys, your guess is as good as mine regarding what Boston is going to do. What I know they're going to do, they are going to sit players down. Who they sit down, I have honestly no idea. Absolutely none. Last time on their back-to-back, both Porzingis and Horford sat on the same day. Now, both Porzingis and Horford are questionable on Friday, as is Jason Tatum. Now, Tatum sat the game on Wednesday. I would be very doubtful that Tatum sits here, but he could. And I don't know with Porzingis and Horford. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to play them both together and then sit them both the next game, but Sneaky Joe Mazzulla's mixing things up all the time. So at this stage, I just don't know. I also had Drew Holiday as questionable, but Drew is off the injury report. He's missed 2 games in a row and he is back and ready to go. Don't be shocked if you get a last-minute Derek White questionable tag or Jaylen Brown one. Remember, they're playing on the Friday, Saturday. The guys who are definitely going to play are Peyton Pritchard. You are probably going to get Luke Cornett. And then even Sam Howes is not guaranteed to play in both of them. Horford, Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, Holiday, White, no guarantee they play either. It's literally just Pritchard and probably Cornett who are the guarantees to play. So what am I watching for? Well, obviously I'm watching to see Chris Middleton return to action. And it is going to be slow. It is going to be does he play 20 minutes? If he comes out and plays 26 straight up, then I'm wrapped. Absolutely fired up. But I don't know that. So I want to see if that's what we get. If Middleton's available, or not, if he is going to be available. And someone said, man, he's still listed with an injury tag on my fantasy side. Let me explain to you very clearly with this. He is listed probable. There is no chance that someone like Chris Middleton, who has been out this long, gets a probable tag on if he is not going to play. The probable tag is just the ultimate, just in case something goes wrong and he screws his ankle up overnight or whatever it is. That is all that is. He is available and ready to play, and he will play unless something crazy happens. So that is what that is. All right? You do not rule someone probable after being out for 7 weeks just because you don't know they're going to play. He is going to play. Yep, and feel free to clip this when he doesn't play. Drew Holiday is one I want to watch on the Celtics. He's back. He's ready to go, allegedly. But is he good? Because at the moment, the answer to that is no. He's not good. And he's not producing fantasy value. If I'm in a points league, I don't hold him. I don't worry about that. In a category league, I probably would. But you know what? It's getting closer to not holding him, to be honest. In terms of stream guys, Torian Prince's value does drop because Middleton's going to return, but he's still probably the guy I look at over a Trent and over a Green, but you can still look at those players if you want. Bobby Portis, if he was dropped, he's streamable also. And Luke Cornett is likely the Celtics stream, but he also could do nothing because Porzingis and Horford could both play here, and so could Tatum, and then there's no value in Cornett, and they could go to the Pastel Donata, Namaesh Keita. They could go to old mate Xavier Tillman in that spot as well. You might even get 20-odd minutes of Drew Peterson. This is a very, very messy portion of the schedule for the Celtics, and I think we are all sort of well aware of that at this stage. So that was a really long discussion on that game. I think there's a lot to talk about there, actually, though. Sacramento and San Antonio, probably less to talk about. Both of these teams are actually playing on Thursday, so they're on a back-to-back, and then Sacramento has Friday, Sunday this week, and just one next week on Thursday, whereas San Antonio goes Friday, Saturday, into Friday, Sunday next week. That's all right. The Spurs don't play Friday, Saturday. That is incorrect. My bad. Let me just double-check that, because that is very clearly incorrect about the Spurs, because they're playing Thursday. So let me double-check that, just so I can give you the accurate information on San Antonio. Where are we? The Spurs play Friday, Sunday. My bad. The Spurs are Friday, Sunday into Friday, Sunday. Yeah, Friday, Sunday into Friday, Saturday. So my bad. They are not Friday, Saturday. They've got a 3-game in 4-night little period going here. Who is out? Devin Carter is out. Trey Lyles is out. I don't think that Devin Vassell is going to play. He is playing on Thursday, so I'll just put him as doubtful for Friday. And then I don't think Trey Jones with a shoulder sprain is going to play. He's also ruled out Thursday, but I'm going to rule him out for Friday, or I'm going to put him at least doubtful. And then Wemby's the big one, because Wembanyama's got a sore back. He had a back issue in the last game they played. He is out on Thursday. I think it's probably more precautionary across the back-to-back. So I think he's probably going to be all right, Wemby, and play here on Friday, but I don't know. And obviously, if he is out, then it's just more Zach Collins and more Goldfinger Charlie Bassey. In terms of stream guys, we didn't see any Keon Ellis in their last game, so Kevin Huerter, even getting those bench minutes, it's fine, but I don't know about you, I don't like trusting Kevin Huerter at all. Just got that shifty look in his eyes. And then on the Spurs, Julian Champagny, especially with Devin Vassell, not likely to play. Champagny has been very, very good this season, and I prefer him over Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, and the horse, Keldon Johnson. The next game, the Indiana Pacers and the Chicago Bulls. All right, what are we watching for here? Well, the Bulls are on a back-to-back. They're playing Thursday. The Pacers go Friday, Sunday into Friday, Sunday. The Bulls go Friday, Sunday into Friday next week. Neesmith's going to be out. Ben Shepherd is going to be out. But Andrew Nembhard rested the last game for Indiana. He will return here. Pat Williams is going to be out for Chicago. And then I don't know about Josh Giddey, Kobe White, because White is out on Thursday, so I'll put him questionable for Friday. Giddey is still questionable for Thursday, so I'll just put him questionable for Friday. Lonzo Ball is out on Thursday, but he will be back on Friday on the back-to-back. On the Pacers side of things, I want to watch the dildo Johnny Furphy, because last game he was very good. He started the second half over Quentin Jackson, and I think Jackson's going to be out of the rotation here. The difference here is that Nembhard is going to be returning, and Nembhard is playing very low minutes. So what do they do with Furphy? Can they put him in to be a sort of full-time rotation piece? I know this really mainly applies to the double Onyx, Diamond, Titanium, Platinum leagues, but I think there is a world in which at some point Furphy's knocking on the door of 14-team value. But I just want to see how they're utilizing him here. Of course, we still want to watch the Halliburton on the road type scenario. In terms of streams with these players out, TJ McConnell still remains very, very good. Although his assist numbers are down this season, there is still good stream value for him. And then for the Bulls, Ayo Dosunmu is just the quintessential stream. That's what he is. You don't want to hold him on your roster all the way through. But when the Bulls have got a little strong stretch of games, well, Dosunmu's your bloke. He's the guy that you look at and you use him and you wish you got more and then you never do. And that's okay. That is a metaphor for life, I guess, isn't it? We've got 2 more games to talk about and some more streaming options. But in the interim, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. All the NFL action, bang. Are you going to tackle it? You're going to sack it? I'm sure you're not going to do an illegal hit straight to the head, but you're going to be out there with NFL and using America's number one sportsbook, which happens to be called FanDuel. If you bet $5, well, you get $150 in bonus bets if you win that $5 bet. So place your $5 bet win your $5 bet, get your $150 in bonus bets. And then when you open up that FanDuel Sportsbook app, you'll have the bonus bets there and you can look at all of the live game action. The game's going on. It's on your big TV. Or maybe you've got one of those little TVs like on The Office and Michael Scott's little TV. And that's okay. You just have to stand up really close to it. But you got on your phone, you can hold that up next to it and you can look at all of the information that you need on there. You've got all of the live stats. You've got the live play-by-play. You've got the live bets to place while you're there hanging out with the fellas talking about live betting the NFL. So go to FanDuel.com and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Also, don't forget to never, ever tweet at betting companies telling you them to void a bet because someone get hurt. Like, if someone gets hurt, like that's just part of it, yeah. That's what happens. Someone getting hurt is just part of the game. Yep, void. Jazz Blazers is the next game. This is the only game that currently, according to FanDuel, has a spread available for it. The Blazers are 4-point favorites at home against your Utah Jazz men. The Jazz play a Friday-Sunday schedule into Friday next week, so only one game next week. And Portland go Friday-Sunday into Friday-Sunday, so 4 days off for both of these teams to begin next week. I don't have the updates, unfortunately, on the Jazz and their players. I would have loved to have gotten those news bits, but I haven't. So Jordy Clarkson, Kyle Filipowski, and Michael Potter they've all missed a bunch of games in a row. No, look, we're not holding Clarkson or Filipowski, and godforsaken, with no chance we're holding on to Potter. But when they do return, especially Clarkson and Filipowski, it'd be very interesting to see how it sort of all plays out. And for Portland, we know Klingon's out, we know Thibel's out. Rob Williams maybe return from a concussion, came in, had that opportunity with Klingon and Ayton out to really put up some good numbers, played 11 minutes and got concussed, because of course he did. It's Rob Williams, that's what happens. It's frustrating, but if Rob is back, I'd be interested in adding him. And then we don't know about old mate Sterling Henderson, Scoot, who's been very disappointing this season, and I wish they would give him more, but they're not, and it's annoying that they're not actually seeing what he can do. It is possible, right, that Scoot's just bad and he will forever be bad. I'm not going to write someone off a year and 20 games into their career. I like to do that after 3 years. But they're just not giving him any faith. It's almost impossible for us to be rostering Scoot outside of deeper league stash type scenarios. We just got a bunch of updates on injuries. I'm just going to see if any of those mean anything for today. Not really. We just got one about Max Strus saying that Kenny Atkinson doesn't know when he'll return. All right, sick. Yeah, we don't know when Scoot's returning here from this quad contusion. Who are we watching on the Jazz? Well, I just don't know with this team. Like, what do we do here? Colin Sexton will play 39 minutes, and he'll play 27 minutes, then he'll play 23 minutes. Then it is literally all over the shop, and I do not know how to trust it. In fact, I wouldn't trust a single thing on this Jazz team, but Sexton's got that opportunity with Clarkson out to at least do a little bit more. Unfortunately, he just doesn't some nights. Sometimes he does, and some he doesn't. It's a frustrating scenario. For the Blazers, to me, Denny Avdia, when they are healthy, is not a 12-10 player, because it's very hard for a player like Avdia without the ball in his hands to be a 24-minute bench player and be a 12-10 guy. Now, you could be sitting there and you believe that he's awesome. I don't. That is a difference of opinion. And you're waiting for Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons to be traded or shut down and Avdia to take over, and that could all very well happen. But also remember that Scoot's not even playing in these games. And Avdia needs big minutes, big usage, big ball handling to be a very strong fantasy guy. At the moment, I don't think that he is a must. He is totally okay to roster, but I don't think he's a must. The Jazz, with the uncertainty around Filipowski and Clarkson, there's no real good streamers there. You can look at Johnny Juzang if you want. You can look at old mate Bryce Sensabaugh, but you're going to be let down. And then much like Ayo Dosunmu, Portland's Ayo Dosunmu, Tamani Kamara, continues to be streamable and not a must-roster player. But again, if a team's got 3 games in 5 nights, 4 games in 6 nights, then that player is must-roster for those 6 days, because you use him, you don't waste streamers, you just put him in those areas, and that's where getting chunky with stuff and looking at the little schedule and breaking it down, because again, with players like this, and I'll continue to sort of rant/talk/explain about the way that we look at this with variants and streamers, is that you're trying to hit the specific game that someone is good. It's impossible. That is why, again, I'll say it again, Sleeper is a trash format. You don't have the extra skill. Nobody has this to know that this specific game is the good one. You don't. You don't have that skill. I assure you don't. Because it is impossible to have that skill, because there is no way of doing it. It is randomness. So when we're talking about streaming guys in and maximizing, if you're taking these high variance upside guys, you want to, can I get 3 games in 5 nights here and maybe we get 2 good ones and 1 bad one? Maybe they're on a 3-game hot streak. I don't know. Or maybe they had 2 bad ones and I get a good one at the end and it sort of salvages. Because if you add someone they have a bad game and then you drop them, and then the next game they have a good one, and then you go and add them again and they have a bad one, that's just how this stuff works. You've got to sort of try and take totality in. And I think that's something that I need to do a better job of. And I think this as a general idea through fantasy, we need to be better at. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people just do that and I'm the only one who doesn't. Or doesn't talk about it. I don't know. Anyway, Tamani Kamara, he's one of those guys. Should we do the last game? Yeah, probably a good idea. It is the Wolves and the Warriors. The Warriors are on a back-to-back here. They're playing on Thursday. I just realized I've got Colin Sexton's name there, which I shouldn't because he does not play for Minnesota. Minnesota plays Friday, Sunday into Friday, Sunday. Golden State is Friday, Sunday into Wednesday with a quarterfinal game. And then they're either Saturday or Sunday. Saturday if they win, Sunday if they lose. I don't expect Joe Ingles to play. He's dealing with a calf issue and he's old as shit. So, yeah, he won't be there. And Rob Dillingham, I think, is probably closer to probable, but that doesn't mean that he even plays a single second, so it doesn't really matter at all. Steph and Draymond Green are out on Thursday. Steph is dealing with a knee issue that feels like it's going to be a longer-term, ongoing, in-and-out scenario. Not to say that he's going to miss multiple games, but I think he's going to be Trae Young and Anthony Davis on the injury report a lot here. I believe that he's sitting Thursday because it is a back-to-back, so I think Steph will play on Friday. Draymond, I'm not so sure about. I think he's probably closer to doubtful. Draymond missed 2 games in a row with the calf now, and it's a calf issue. We had that back problem with his calf last season as well, all sort of connected through. That cost him a bunch of time. I wouldn't be shocked if Draymond misses again, and that means we are valuing more of John Kuminga, more of Chase Jackson-Davis, and more of Kevon Looney. Andy Wiggins is questionable for the game on Thursday, so I'll put him questionable for Friday. What am I watching for on the Wolves? Realistically, I want to see Anthony Edwards because we know that he's up the top of fantasy ranks, but again, he has not lived up at all to taking him inside the top 10 or in the first round. His sort of shot mix has changed a lot. He's taking a lot of threes, and they're going in. I don't know that they continue to go into that level, but he continues to be someone where you look at his numbers and you go, well, yeah, he should be better. But, he's not. And I know that feels like I'm judging him on a high standard because if you're going to get crowned as the face of the NBA or the Michael Jordan or whatever nonsense people want to put out there, then you are going to get judged that way. And if people are going to pick you inside the top 8 of fantasy drafts, then people should judge you according to that. And he hasn't lived up to that number. And I just want to see if we get any sort of game style change or anything that sort of starts to flash with him that improves that number. Again, incredibly good player, incredibly fun player, but that's not what we're talking about here. The Warriors on the back-to-back, like I said. And then old mate Dawson, Jaden McDaniels, continues to be the streamer, much like a Tamani Kamara, much like a Pat Williams before him, much like Ayo Dosunmu. These are guys that are always going to appear streamable, but you never want to hold long-term, and I get it. And then the Warriors one is probably Kevon Looney. If Podziemski and Kuminga are available, we go with them. It'd be very interesting to see what the Warriors do here, actually. And if Steph misses again, like old mate Pat Spencer will be someone that's going to have to play. And then Looney, Jackson Davis, all these guys have value in Golden State if Draymond does remain on the outs. By on the outs, I just mean injured, of course. Why wouldn't? That's what that phrase definitely doesn't mean, but that's what I tried to make it mean. Let's talk about some schedule plays. The only team with a Friday-Saturday back-to-back is Boston. That's the only team who's got that. And then if we do chunks, which is where I look for which teams play 3 games in 5 nights, not including the 12-game Sunday, nobody does it. So we're not going to get chunky here. What we are going to look at is the 5 and 2s, and there is nobody in the next 7 days who plays 5 games. But what there is there are 2 teams in the next 7 days that play 1 game. There are about 15 teams that play 2 games, so I didn't list all of them. It's either 3 or 2 that most teams play over the next 7 days. Again, a very quiet portion of the schedule. But the Nets and the Clippers have 1. So if you're trying to figure out, hey, do I try Keon Johnson or Tyrese Martin, not Jalen Martin, he's hurt, or Jalen Wilson, or do I have a crack at Day'Ron Sharpe or Trendon Watford? No, you don't, because there's 1 game in 7 nights. And the Clippers, you go, well, what am I going to do with Terrence Mann out? Do I try Amir Coffey? Do I take a look at Kevin Porter Jr.? Do I look at Jordan Miller in deep leagues? And the answer is probably no. It's 1 game in 7 nights. It's not really useful at all. And again, not that everyone's playing a million games, but if someone's got 3, that's triple. Yeah, triple your tenors in that time. If anyone understands the triple your tenors joke, please leave a comment. There is maybe one. I reckon there's one person, this guy, I know he's on YouTube, and his username is like Colin Robinson, which is funny in itself. But if you get the triple your tenors joke, please please leave a comment. I want to know there's someone out there who at least was on my wavelength. Anyway, 3-1 is triple, obviously. And the one game of maybe Jordan Miller hits is just not worth it. It's just not going to be worth it. Let's talk streaming. Who are the streams of the day on Friday? That'd be a really good question. Let's look at it. Now, the 10-teamer is Timothy John. Yep. Even though Nembhard's back, McConnell's just doing enough. And I hope the assist numbers come up, but I don't know. And you'll see the 12-team stream is John Isaac, and the 14-team stream is Lonzo Ball. And you'll notice, with all of those players, they do not score. It is not easy to find high-volume scoring on the waiver wire. In fact, it's almost impossible. But McConnell might get you 6 assists and 2 steals, and Isaac might get you 3 steals and 3 blocks, and Lonzo might get you 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block. And all that stuff matters. It's all useful. And it's just not exciting with bulk scoring. My 16-teamer is just a different one again. It's Kevon Looney. Like, he might have 4 points, but he might get 12 rebounds. He might get 2 steals and shoot 60%. It's all just these little things, and all these guys project well, and they slide a little under the radar. For points leagues, both Yahoo and ESPN, I do think Goga Bitadze is probably the best available player who's 60+% available, and that would be the direction I would go. Let's just go through a 10-team category league list here. These are all 65% rostered using Basketball Monsters Advanced Metric. What is Basketball Monster Advanced Metric? It's the thing that we use when we look at all of our members. We look at all the leagues they're in, look at the people who are in 12-team leagues, and then we scan through their leagues and their rosters, and we try and figure out like what guys are rostered in these leagues. Because we assume if somebody's in that league and they're using Basketball Monster, there's a level of attention that's being applied by at least some people in the league. So you will see that sometimes someone's rostered 20% on Yahoo, and they're 70% on Basketball Monster. Meaning, okay, so there's a lot of these Yahoo leagues that are dead, but people in the leagues with more attention being paid are focusing on this guy. So if someone sits at 65% rostered on Basketball Monster's advanced number, I think that that's a reasonable guess that they can be available in 10s. So that's the number that I use. And I use 45% for 12s, I use 20% for 14 teams, and I use 10% for 16s. Anyway, so I think McConnell, John Isaac, Gershon Yebusele, and Lonzo Ball look really solid for 10-team streaming. I've even got Kevon Looney in there and Tamani Kamara, and that should give you an indication of how some of this stuff can drop off, but also the fact that those guys do things in some of the categories that maybe get some lesser attention. For 12-team leagues, yeah, I am going to do it. We're going to look at the pencil, Harrison Barnes. Barnesy!
Get that garbage out of here!
I did it again. Nah, we're okay to stream Barnesy in on a day like this, even though like you might get absolutely nothing there. Jarris Walker, speaking of trash, you might get some steals and blocks, but he has been downright dreadful. Obi Toppin, yeah, like points with high field goal percentage and some rebounds. Don't expect more, and you won't get disappointed. Kevin Huerter, Jalen Smith, all mate sticks, because this is the game. I expect that Vooch is going to get benched in this game. They're going to finally realize that he's trash and that Jalen Smith's going to start, so I'm predicting that for this game. I'm not. But Jalen Smith, if he gets 14 minutes, he can have 7 points, 5 rebounds, a steal, 2 blocks. Or no, 3 and 2 blocks, which, again, on a day like this, when the options are pretty limited, Smith has that value. And then there is the artist formerly known as Torian Prince as a stream guy. For deeper leagues, these guys are all going to be available in most of these formats. You've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You've got Mr. Black, who could give you 2, 1 and 1, or could give you 10, 7, 5, 2 and 2. He's very inconsistent. His minutes are inconsistent too. Andy Nembhard, the reason that he's down in the deep league section is he probably only plays 20 minutes. And even then, he's not a great per minute guy. Caleb Martin, you will notice for Philadelphia, has been usurped by KJ Martin, not his brother. And KJ is starting and Caleb's playing 22 off the bench. So his value is way down. Kyle Anderson's getting some minutes, especially if Draymond is out. And if Steph is out, then we maybe we get a little bit more of Modi Musi. If we go now to Yahoo points, I use a 40% rostered percentage on Yahoo for these guys. These are all over 60% available. We go to Goga Bitadze, Gershon Yebusele, Wendell Carter Jr., DeAndre Hunter, Kevon Looney, and the pencil Harrison Barnes. Maybe we'll do it right this time. Barnesy. For ESPN points to round us out here, it's Goga, it's TJ, McConnell, it's Gershon Yebusele, Wendell Carter Jr., DeAndre Hunter, and Kevon Looney. And that, ladies and gentlemen, or 2% ladies, 98% gentlemen, is the end of today's show. So you can go and hit the thumb up and subscribe, and let's try to get to that 90K mark. Let's also try and leave comments, and also be nice to ourselves. Let's be kind to ourselves. It's a bloody busy time of the year, heading towards Christmas and other holidays, and you're going to be under a lot of stress, and you're going to be worried about family and interactions and parties and work, all that sort of stuff. Be kind to yourself. Recognize something good that you did. Find out what it is. And you know what? If you need to write it down, write it down. Write down something. Hey, I did this good today. And then that gives you something to go, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not terrible. Maybe I do have things that are good. And you've always got something we can improve on. So let's do that. Guys, you know what I'm going to improve on? Making sure I hit the right Harrison Barnes sound button. That's my thing for today. But I'm also going to tell you that I did a good thing because I got it right the second time. And that's how stupidly small it can be. Because you can get in, you can, on this, you know, do you want to just sit down for a sec? Because we can get wound up and go, man, I did this. So, like, why would I hit the button wrong? What am I doing? How could you, it's right there, Josh. It says Barnes. How did you hit the wrong button? But then every other time that you get it right, you don't go, well, good job, mate. You did it. Well done. Fantastic for you. And yeah, that goes to a lot of stuff. And I have that thing, you know, we have negative comments and positive comments, and most of them are positive, but you focus on the negative ones. All right. Recognize the good. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.